Hi guys, welcome back to the Moving Warriors. So I just had another moment where I really just felt like having a chat with you guys because in my last video I spoke quite a lot about communication and being able to effectively articulate your thoughts, your opinions, your perspectives with other people and not being afraid to truly express what it is that you need to, because in that moment you are actually you're actually validating yourself, you're acknowledging who you are first and foremost, and you're not looking outside of yourself for validation, which I think is often the case with most people. And the reason for that is because they're it's because of your ego. And I think we're all guilty of it, where we've had moments in our lives, maybe years even. I know for me, it's been a case of years being stuck in that egotistical pattern. And I don't mean that in a harsh way or in a bad way, but what I mean is you are constantly looking for that quick hit, that quick dopamine fix, that quick fix of somebody to acknowledge something that you have done, to make you feel really good. You know that feeling when someone's like, oh wow, you're looking so incredible, or oh wow, you've lost a bunch of weight, or oh wow, you're just so good at your job. And like when your boss just gives you a raise, or they're saying, oh hey, you're amazing, or even better, when someone really good looking comes into the room and they just acknowledge you, and boom, it's just like constant, it's like a constant hit and a constant rush to the head, and it can be very addictive. And I think, the ego is there for a reason, but it's not a bad thing, there's nothing wrong with you. But I think what's important is to be aware of the ego and to build that awareness by doing the work on yourself and learning who you actually are, and realizing that it's not about constantly looking for validation, constantly finding somebody in your life who's going to fulfill that void, who's going to give you that fix. It's the same as if you're in a long-term relationship and you're constantly seeking other, you're constantly looking for more because you think, oh, there's somebody better out there, or the grass is greener on the other side. Usually, from what I've realized, is it's not like that at all. You've actually got to come back to yourself. You got to pull that energy back, and you've got to be able to find what it is inside that you're missing, that maybe there's something that you've been ignoring with yourself, and you haven't been giving yourself that love, that acknowledgement, that validation that you're requiring. And I think that this is a really important aspect of communication as well, and how you show up for yourself and how you show up for others in your relationships, whether it's personal or professional. It's really important to be able to have that awareness, that conscious awareness of your ego, and when it is that you are acting through the ego, when you are maybe searching in your external world for ways to escape your own issues, the body of work that needs to be done on yourself. And so I often find myself going back to that whenever I am getting swayed by, other like things in the world. I start realizing, no, shit, like I actually need to ground myself again. I need to bring that energy back to myself. And I need to give myself love. I need to give myself the things that it deserves. I need to figure out myself. I need to remind myself of who I actually am, and that I am an amazing person. I am an amazing woman. I am capable. I am worth being heard. And so I think it's really important that you have the ability to do that, and that it's a reminder. It's a practice. It's not something that's just going to come to you like poof. You're going to be able to be this person who's just so like self-aware and never be victim to the ego. But it's possible through practice and through just having that awareness. Just having that awareness can actually save you from a bunch of problems. So the other aspect of this is when you detach yourself from any kind of egotistical aspect of life, particularly in communication, in your relationships, and just in your general choices in life, because often our choices are clouded by the ego. When you can actually detach yourself from those things, you often will find yourself in quite a vulnerable space. And I found myself sure, in so many vulnerable places, especially over the past 3 4 years, I would say, where you feel failure, you really feel that burn, you feel that sting when you it's almost like an emptiness. You feel that like tinge of emptiness, of isolation, maybe loneliness, because you're not looking for that rush. You are not holding on to people who you should let go of, because you feel like, I need them, I need their validation, or maybe you have fear of missing out. So you hold on to people who are toxic for you, who weigh you down, who degrade you, who don't listen to you. I mean, how often do you say, hello, how are you to people? And then they just don't reply. They didn't even hear that you asked how they are. They just ignored it, and they were just like, and they just carry on. It happens a lot, and I find it quite interesting that people are, they don't want to go to a vulnerable space. They would rather ignore or deny or cover up and conceal their vulnerabilities through the ego, through validation, through showing off, or even through retreating and isolating, because that can also be the ego. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna stay away from everyone because I know that if I put myself out there, I can get hurt. People are gonna say things that I don't want to hear. That's your ego. That's literally your ego trying to keep you safe from from being harmed. And it's really silly, because you're not actually going to grow in any way. The moment that you can be aware of that, and you can go for it in any case, and you start to be really honest with people, you start to open up and share your thoughts, you start to communicate effectively and openly, in that moment, that is the moment that you actually become more magnetic. You start to pull people towards you. You start to form deeper, more connected relationships. Whether it's personal or professional doesn't actually matter, because this applies to both. It could be spiritual, it could be, whatever it is. Being vulnerable is good. Don't be afraid of your feelings. Don't be afraid of emotions. Some people, I know, like, with certain people, in my family, and also certain friends, they're just so blocked off towards emotion. They either make jokes about it, or they brush it off, or I don't know, they just conceal it through arrogance or being cocky. But really, they're only fooling themselves, because the thing is, when you can interact with people on a much deeper level, this can also be in a business environment. You can actually understand one another better, and then you can find solutions. You really, when you listen to a person and you try to understand what it is that they are telling you, you're not there to just speak. You're not there to just talk over them, to dominate them for your own ego, to make yourself look better than them. You're there as an equal, and you're showing up as another beautiful being on this planet, because all of us are interconnected. We're all here for a greater purpose. We're all here to co-create. And the moment you understand that, that is the moment that there is beauty, there is growth, there is synergy, there is co-creation. That is the moment where you can fully embody yourself. All it takes is a little bit of vulnerability. And for me, I've chosen to be more vulnerable just by me coming on here and speaking to you guys. I mean, what the hell? It's pretty random. But I feel like it's needed, and I feel like we need to be more honest with one another rather than hiding or concealing, escaping, and instead supporting, sharing, being more open-minded, and being able to create an awareness. That is, for me, the most important thing, creating an awareness, self-awareness, but also creating awareness collectively as well. That's what's going to make the biggest change, like worldwide, and also for you in your own personal life. So my message is for you today is that in your relationships, in your daily encounters, whether it's business or personal, try to be honest with yourself firstly. So first, take a little moment. Maybe it's just a few minutes in a day. If you meditate, maybe do some meditation. Whatever it is, sit in your garden with a cup of tea. Maybe just contemplate a few things. Sit there and just allow yourself to really think about like who you are. What are your dreams? What are your visions? How do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to create? What is it you want to create? How can you help somebody? How can you inspire someone? How can you find inspiration for yourself? That's the first step. The second step is to then take action towards those things. And what I mean is, before you take that action, get a feeling for it. Like, let's say you want to be a the fastest runner in the country, let's just say, okay? Then you need to think like one. What would they be doing? How would they feel? They would be going for runs, they'd be stretching, they'd be going outside, they would be, you know, they would be active, they would be eating a good diet. What is it like? Get a feeling for it first and start believing that you are that person. Start feeling your way into that kind of a lifestyle. Then that is how you start to slowly pull those kinds of people in towards you. You start attracting that energy. And then the third is to be vulnerable. So, you know, that is being able to set boundaries with people who might not be supportive of your vision, who might be degrading you in some way, who don't value you. Because you need to be able to value yourself first and foremost. Because then if you can do that, then others have no power over you, because you would set the boundaries in place. You are able to express yourself like we spoke about in the previous video. If you have a thought, if you have an idea, if you have something happening, don't be afraid to speak up first and foremost. And lastly, to really work on bringing the energy back to yourself, to work on giving yourself that thing that is missing to you, that emptiness that you might be feeling, that love, that self-love, that validation. All of that needs to come within, and it's something that is within all of us. So focus on those three things and let me know how your relationships, your communication, and just your life in general starts to improve. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in the next video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, become a moving warrior.